including the kids. For this community, this is fantastic. Let's pray together. Let's live together. Let's dance together. Amen.
Cause you know it's not complicated. Live life, not be hated. Only you and I can change it. I won't ever talk about the situation. People living in a desperation. End to end, across the nation. Let's get together. To ombe wote, ombe the way to wote. Tusaidiane wote, ila kabila zote. Tuimbe wote, kwa lugha zetu zote. Let's get together. Let's get together. Let's get together. It's time to get together. Let's get together. Let's get together. Let's get together. We got to get together. Lo 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 lo. La 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 la. Lo 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 lo. La 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 la. I'm just a world full of confusion. Spin around in a revolution. We gotta find a real solution. Feels like we're waiting forever. One thing I know, I'm a motivated. Spit it high, so elevated. We're gonna change it before we fade it. Let's get together. To ombe wote, ombe the way to wote. Tusaidiane wote, ila kabila zote. Come on. Furahi wote, sahau mabaya yote. Let's get together. Let's get together. Let's get together. It's time to get together. Let's get together. Let's get together. Let's get together. We got to get together. Umoja power, shida noma, matatizo tatua tatua. Amani sawa, amani power, shida kuta tatua tatua. Umoja power, shida noma, matatizo tatua tatua. Amani sawa, amani power, shida kuta tatua tatua. Let's get together. Let's get together. Let's get together. It's time to get together. Let's get together. Let's get together. Let's get together. We got to get together. Let's get together. Let's get together. Let's get together. It's time to get together. Let's get together. Let's get together. Let's get together. We got to get together.
Good evening. Welcome, everyone. We're so happy you are here with us for CHT's 2022 annual meeting. I hope you enjoyed that intro slideshow with photos of some of our amazing residents and music from local artist A2V2. VT, sorry. I am Michael Monti. I am CHT CEO, and I have been now CEO for a bit more than a year. A remarkable year in every way. I am grateful to have had this opportunity to serve as your CEO. We have been in the state of COVID now for almost 2 years. Frankly, like all of you, we are weary of the pandemic and the impact that it has had on our lives, our work, and the lives of our residents. But whenever I feel that way, I re-energize myself by knowing that the work that we have done over the past 2 years has been remarkable. remarkable in this remarkable time. And so I rise up with you tonight as 2022 starts, knowing of the enormous opportunities and challenges that we have before us, and that although the need is great, the opportunity to respond is even greater. Our intention, our goal is to meet these challenges and to make a difference in the lives of our residents and our communities. This evening will be your opportunity to hear what we have done and what we hope to do and accomplish in the coming year. So this is a break in the protocol because it's usually the president of the board who opens the meeting. But before Bob does that, I want to say a few words about him and his leadership. I am particularly fond of the word seva. Seva in Hinduism is a selfless service that is performed without any expectation, a result, or reward for the person performing it. When you perform seva, you give your time and energy to the greater good. Seva means service. No one has served CHT as well as a board member, as its board president than Bob Robbins. During these past 3 years, Bob has stepped up with grace, clarity, and good humor. And CHT is a better place because of his leadership and support. Please welcome Bob Robbins, CHT's outgoing board president.
Thanks for the kind words, Michael, and welcome everyone to the 2022 Champlain Housing Trust Annual Meeting. As Michael mentioned, I am Bob Robbins. I am the outgoing board president and a CHT resident from Jericho, where I live with my beautiful and talented wife, Lynn, and have done so for 25 years. Thank you all for joining us, whether from your homes, your offices, or your cars even. I hope you're not driving. I want to recognize my fellow board members and nominees attending and pictured in the photo. You'll hear and see their names in the course of the meeting. I'd like to start this evening with some Zoom basics for our online meeting and let you know that we are recording this meeting. To avoid confusion, everyone will be muted during the program. If you have questions or comments, we will have time for them during the open member forum. We will open up chat for that part of the program. If you need technical help, though, you can send a message via chat to Addie Livingston by choosing her name on the chat address line. Addie will have some other helpful info in the chat throughout the meeting. You can turn your video on or off from the menu at the bottom left of your screen, but we hope you'll leave it on so we can see your faces and feel a little bit more like we're all together. We have, this evening, we have over 200 participants joining us here in the meeting. So we're hoping to keep as many faces on the screen as possible. We suggest choosing gallery view in your Zoom view settings, but you can change from a highlighted speaker view or the gallery view of many faces by choosing speaker or gallery when you click on the view options at the top right of your screen. Because we are virtual, we'll not be asking for motions from the floor, but we'll call on some board members to help us move the meeting along. To vote, we'll be using polls, which will pop up on your screen. And I'll say more about this when we get to the voting. Up first is the minutes from the January 28th, 2021 annual membership meeting. These were made available on the annual meeting webpage. Naima, can I get a motion to adopt the minutes?
I move to adopt the minutes as presented.
Thank you. Helen, can I get a second? Or someone else?
I second that motion.
Thanks, Helen.
Sorry.
No worries. Okay, so we're going to launch our first poll now. You please vote by clicking yes or no to adopt the minutes, and then click the submit button at the bottom of the poll window. We'll take a little time for everyone to look at the poll and respond. And for those of you who are attending only on your phone, or you don't have the poll in front of you, If you would like to vote yes, you may unmute yourself now and say aye. Thank you. Any voting nay?
Aye.
Thank you for that aye. All right, I'm going to allow for just a few more seconds for everyone to manage their way through the poll window. Okay, and here's our poll results. So the minutes are approved. Thank you all. With that done, I'd like to share some of the highlights from this strange and tumultuous year. And my comments are going to be very positive because there have been a lot of positive things. But I'd like to acknowledge that this has been a year of struggle and loss for many of our staff and residents. And all we can do is to try to support and learn from one another. So now, my president's report. Like other businesses and nonprofits, our operations have been deeply affected by this pandemic. Like others, we've had to keep rolling with the ebb and flow of changes during the past year. By mid-year, all of our staff were vaccinated and we'd returned to the office. By now, most of us have been boosted. For our residents, we put a hold on evictions and communicated with residents regularly about support available to them through CHT programs or from other resources that could help ensure their health and safety. Fortunately, over 2,500 families do live in our rental housing, from group homes to apartments in the 3 counties in northwestern Vermont that we serve. Our apartments are affordable, safe, and in great condition. Nearly 650 families own their homes because of CHT, building wealth and creating a legacy for their families while sharing it with the next homeowner through our shared equity homeownership program. In the past year, CHT housed nearly 300 new families in our apartments, almost all low and moderate income. And of that number, nearly 130 were formerly homeless. We also provided emergency housing for thousands of others at our 2 motels. We're proud of our work operating the only COVID and isolation facility in the state for people experiencing homelessness. We created Susan's Place by purchasing the former Baymont Motel and converting it into 68 apartments. We worked closely with Steps to End Domestic Violence to help them achieve their dream of a new quality shelter. And let me pause here to give our deepest thanks to the legislature, governor, and the Vermont Housing and Conservation Board for providing us with the resources to purchase and repurpose those properties. We have more to do, for sure, but are confident in moving forward because of your partnership. Our goal in the next few years is to create over 700 new apartments, and we're gearing up now to create homeownership opportunities for hundreds more as well. One of our greatest challenges, and this is a challenge for all of us, is to ensure that we do this work with the goal of achieving racial equity for people of color. Over 35% of our renters identify as Black, Indigenous, or people of color. The intersections of racial justice and housing are very real, and CHT is committed to countering the decades-long discrimination that has been so clearly documented. Our goal this year and in years to come is to support as many BIPOC renters as possible to become homeowners. To achieve this, we will implement a program working with BIPOC leaders and organizations that is focused on marketing and outreach, counseling and education, down payment assistance, and increased production. Let me pause here and give thanks to New England Federal Credit Union for their transformative gift in support of this work. An example of new marketing and outreach efforts is in Winooski, where we conducted homeownership classes in 6 languages to increase awareness about how to apply for the 20 new 2- and 3-bedroom condos at Butternut Grove, currently under construction in this community. Applications are being accepted for these homes that will be ready in July. If interested, you can find out lots more on our website about this. Recently, we initiated discussions on the development of 2 new community centers. One is a partnership we're especially excited about with VFW in downtown Burlington that includes a veteran center, affordable housing, and other community spaces. In Winooski, we are also working on a plan to revitalize the O'Brien Community Center and create new medical offices for the community health centers of Burlington. We will soon be initiating a new rehab program that will include resources to assist farmers in providing decent and safe housing for farm laborers. And in the creative motel reuse department, we have added 2 more motels, bringing the total that we have purchased and converted to other uses now to 8. On top of all this, our new, fresh off the factory floor, Chief Executive Officer Michael Monty completed his first year of service, as he said. Despite some depreciation, a few dings and dents, I can assure you he's as reliable as ever. Whatever challenges 2022 may bring, he and we will be ready. As this is my last meeting as a board member, I want to tell you all, and especially my fellow residents, how thankful and touched I am by the work you all do to raise your families, lead your lives, and make your communities welcoming places for all. To demonstrate that there's a better way to live on the land, that America is home to cooperation as much as it is to competition, that to know peace, we must know justice. I've been the smallest part of that work, and yet I feel I was given a great gift. I wish you all good health, strength, and much love in the year ahead. Now, next up, a man you can trust with $1 or 2 on a good day, our treasurer, Jeff Smith, with the treasurer's report.
Thank you, Bob. You're a tough act to follow, and thank you for your years of service. And good evening to all fellow CHT members. My name is Jeff Smith, and I'm a general member of the CHT board and proud to be the board's treasurer. It's my pleasure tonight to present to you the financial report for Champlain Housing Trust. I'm pleased to once again report that CHT carried out our stewardship of the organization's finances professionally and with the strictest safeguards, and most importantly, with transparency. Each audit and financial management review of CHT's finances by external, independent organizations was clean, without any findings, and with no management recommendations. This is a clear demonstration of our staff's commitment to the organization's financial management. The board takes its responsibility for the oversight of these activities very seriously as well. Following its established process, the CHT Audit and Finance Committee reviewed finances each month, and the board reviewed internal financial reports quarterly to keep apprised of the organization's financial condition throughout the past year. I can confidently report that CHT's financial health is solid, income exceeds expenses, and the overall assets of the organization have grown even despite the ongoing challenges of the pandemic. As COVID response continued this year, we were able once again to access state and federal resources to retain and expand staff and maintain our commitment to existing programs while also supporting our communities in new and critical ways. I reported last year that we received a payroll protection program loan guaranteed by the federal government that we hoped would be forgiven. This loan was forgiven as anticipated, bolstering our bottom line and providing the capital that is such a critical part of our ability to respond quickly to the needs and opportunities as they arise. Our total revenues including significant capital grants we secured to acquire property, were just over $37 million, while our expenses were about $26.8 million. Most of this net income stems from the timing and flow of our strong real estate development pipeline. I can assure you, this income enables us to undertake new projects that others cannot, and always to be innovative in creating more affordable housing opportunities for those who so desperately need them. A couple of examples include our motel conversions to provide permanent housing for homeless households and a recovery housing project. This year's financial reports clearly demonstrate Champlain Housing Trust's ability to balance mission, risk, and financial stability successfully so the organization can remain strong and vibrant far into the future. I would like to take a moment to thank the finance team personally. Cheryl Reed, Chief Administrative and Financial Officer, Josh Chant, the Director of Finance, Jonathan Breen, Associate Director, their whole team for another year of hard work and exceptional attention to all details that collectively result in a comprehensive and accurate report of our financial condition. I'd also like to take a moment to recognize and thank the dedicated members of the Board Finance Committee, Sarah Robinson, Vice Treasurer of the Board, the amazing Jillian Nanton, and our outgoing President, Bob Robbins. And finally, thank you, the membership, for your continued support. Without you, we couldn't do it. It is a pleasure to serve you as your treasurer. And now, I'd like to take a moment to introduce our Board Vice President, the unbelievable Jessie Baker.
Thank you so much, Jeff. The board has a long-standing tradition of publicly recognizing significant staff anniversaries at annual meeting. This provides us with an opportunity to bring attention to the work of the staff overall and to highlight specific individuals who have achieved milestone anniversaries. You can find out more about these staff in their bios on the annual meeting webpage. While we can't applaud for them or have them come to the front of the room as we normally would, we want to thank the following individuals for their service. Becca Fowler for 10 years of distinguished service, and in particular for her outstanding contributions in support of and leadership in the CHT's loan program. Julie Fisher for 10 years of distinguished service, and in particular for her dedication to and support of CHT's tenants as a key member of the property management team. Rick Farr for 15 years of distinguished service, and in particular for his tireless efforts and dedication to CHT's property maintenance teams. Bill Gross Close for 15 years of distinguished service, and in particular for his hard work and solid contributions to CHT's Northern Property Maintenance Team. Will Welcome for 15 years of distinguished service, and in particular for his persistent efforts to keep Winooski Properties looking their best inside and out. Peter Fisher for 15 years of distinguished service, and in particular for his consistent efforts to support of the project management team and the many contractors who keep our buildings safe and sound. Lynn Davis for 15 years of distinguished service, and in particular for her constant commitment to CHT St. Albans office and kind, helpful, and welcoming presence for tenants. Skip Trahan for 20 years of distinguished service, and in particular for his outstanding commitment to and leadership of CHT's Northern Regional Maintenance Team. Brenda Torpy for 30 years of distinguished service, and in particular for her outstanding leadership and commitment to CHT and the Community Land Trust movement worldwide. I know you'll all join me in sharing sincere appreciation for all of the extraordinary work our team does. It's now my pleasure, yes, claps, claps, claps. It's now my pleasure to introduce Sarah Robinson for outgoing board recognitions.
Good evening. I am so glad to take a few short minutes to recognize CHT's outgoing board members this evening. As you may know, our board has terms and term limits that allow members to choose how long they serve with CHT. This is a great thing as it helps to ensure that our board is representative of the communities we serve and that board members are fully engaged in ways that work best for them and for our organization. The CHT board is both service and community. Collectively, we bring a wide range of life experiences and skills with us. It is always hard to say goodbye to those we have worked alongside for so long. And today we are honoring 3 exemplary individuals whose terms end this year. Public Board Member Mike Lohner, Homeowner Resident Board Member Ian Boyd, and Homeowner Resident Board Member and our current Board President, Bob Robbins. We will miss Mike, Ian, and Bob and their thoughtfulness and dedication to CHT. I want to especially thank Bob for his good humor and his steadiness as he led the board through CHT's executive transition last year. I know that you all join me in sharing our deep appreciation on behalf of the board, staff, and membership of CHT. Thank you, Mike, Ian, and Bob, for your generosity of time, talent, and overwhelming support for CHT's work and the people who make it happen. And I will now hand it back over to our outgoing board president, Bob Robbins.
Thank you, Sarah. And my thanks also to Mike and Ian, whose company I will miss. So now it's time for elections without lines at the polls. Get ready to vote. We have 7 candidates up for election this year. We have 3 candidates for the resident board member seats, 2 public members, and 2 general member seats. Thank you to all members who expressed interest. If you would like to learn more about board or committee service, you can call our office or email Addie Livingston. If you want to know more about our nominees as well, biographies of all the board candidates can be found on the annual meeting webpage. Now, our first vote of these board elections is for the resident member seats, and these positions are elected by CHT residents only. I will now invite each of the candidates to say a few words about themselves. First is Rachel Phillips, renter representative running for her 2nd term. Rachel, please unmute and introduce yourself to everyone.
Hi, my name is Rachel Phillips, and I'm up for re-election as a resident board member. I've been a CHT renter for about 9 years now, and I live in Burlington. We wanted to rent from CHT because we had previously experienced housing insecurity firsthand. And from living through that time, I know just how challenging, scary, and disorienting that can be. CHT does incredible work in the realm of permanently affordable housing and creating home for so many people who desperately need it. Working with CHT these last 3 years has been an incredible honor, and I'm privileged and grateful for the opportunity to continue working for a 2nd term. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Rachel. Next is Isuf Watara, homeowner representative running for his 1st term. Isuf, please unmute and introduce yourself.
Hi, everyone. My name is Isuf Watara, and I would like to be a board member for the simple fact that, the experience I lived with CHT was amazing when I first arrived in the country. And I didn't have much, but CHT was the ones that opened up the door for me and gave me a roof to live under. And I've been now living here for about 11 years. So I was first renting, and then I ended up purchasing a condo through the shared equity program. And now I'm in at a stage where I think I need to get more involved in the community. And for me, the best way to do that is to join the board and kind of give back to the community and share my experience with other folks that could be in the same situation that I was when I first arrived, that it's possible. And CHT is, amazing. And yeah, that's something that I can't thank CHT enough. So I decided to give some of my time in order to give back to the community also. So that's the reason why I would like to serve on the board. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Yusuf. Now, our final resident candidate this year is Kate Kappelman-Sins. She's a homeowner representative running for her first term. Kate, please unmute and introduce yourself.
Hi, everyone. I'm Kate Kappelman-Sins. I apologize. I'm on a road trip with my family. We're all residents and privileged to own a cozy home in Winooski. I am running for the board because I'm very passionate about housing issues, both personally and professionally. I'm a community social worker, and one of my biggest challenges is to help families find adequate housing, which I believe is a human right. So thank you, everyone. And I feel very lucky to be part of this opportunity.
Thank you.
Thanks, Kate. Now, again, as I said, resident board members are elected by residents only. So if you are a renter, a co-op member, a homeowner, please vote in the poll that will open momentarily. John, can I get a motion to approve the election of the slate of resident board members?
So moved.
Thank you, John. Antoinette, can I get a second?
I second that motion.
Thank you, Antoinette. We will now open the poll for voting by CHT residents for the election of Rachel Phillips, Yusuf Ouattara, and Kate Kappelman-Sins for their terms as resident board members. All other non-resident board members present, please refrain from voting by either closing the poll window or selecting abstain. And again, for those of you who are attending only on your phone and you would like to vote yes for the slate of resident members, you may unmute yourself now and say aye.
Aye.
Very good. Do I have anyone voting nay? Thank you. I'm going to let Addie and the team tally up the results and let's take a look at the poll. Okay, very good. The vote confirms that the slate of resident board members has been approved. So congratulations and welcome to the three of you. Next is the election of our public and general board members together. These folks are elected by the full membership, so that's residents, donors, everyone here. I will now invite each of the candidates to say a few words about themselves. First is Kathy Luce, general board member running for her third term. Kathy, please unmute and introduce yourself.
Hi, everyone. I'm Kathy Luce. I'm a long-term volunteer at CHT, starting way back when it was called BCLT. And I am a champion of the work of CHT. I've spent my professional life dedicated to affordable housing, and I look forward to serving another term with this amazing organization. Thank you.
Thank you, Kathy. Our second general board member is Joan Lennis, running for her second term. Joan, please unmute and introduce yourself.
Hi, everyone. I'm thrilled to be here tonight with all of you and very excited to be able to offer my services for my second term of a CHT board member. I've always admired the work of CHT. The mission is so dear to my heart, so important for all of us to know and live by. So I'm honored and very pleased to be connected with CHT and happy to start my second three-year term. Thanks.
Thank you, Joan. So now we have two new public board members, and let's begin with Chip Sawyer, representing the city of St. Albans, running for his first term. Chip, please unmute and introduce yourself.
Hi, everybody. Chip Sawyer. I live and work in the city of St. Albans. I'm really excited about the idea of being on the CHT board. I think Champlain Housing Trust is a critical organization in our region, working toward the goal of making sure that everyone has a home. And it also plays a really important role in many other aspects of community life and community development, as seen in some major projects just in the city of St. Albans and around our region. So I'm really excited about the idea of being on the board and happy to serve. Thank you.
Thanks, Chip. Last but not least is Nicole Mace, Public Board Member representing the city of Winooski, running for her first term. Nicole, go right ahead.
Hi, everyone. My name is Nicole, and I've been a Winooski resident for close to 17 years. I'm also the finance manager at the Winooski School District, and I serve on the Winooski Housing Authority Board. I'm so excited to have the opportunity to serve on the CHT board because I believe safe and stable housing are essential for all young people and their communities to thrive, and that the work of CHT is really making a profound and concrete impact in communities like Winooski. I'm particularly excited about the Butternut Grove development that was highlighted earlier tonight, and the partnership between CHT and the Winooski School District, whose liaisons really supported the translation of information sessions. So it's work I'm very excited to support as a community member and hopefully as a board member also. So thank you.
Thanks very much, Nicole. Now, these four people make up your slate of public and general board candidates. Again, everyone, all members can participate in the voting for these seats in the poll that will open momentarily. So, Sarah, can I get a motion to approve the election of the slate of public and general board seats?
So moved.
Thank you. Jeff, can I get a second?
You got a second.
Thank you, Jeff. We will now open the poll for voting by all CHT members for the election of the slate of public and general board members. There we go. I'll let you do that. And again, if anyone who is on the phone and doesn't have access to the poll would like to voice their vote, you may now unmute yourself and say aye. Or anyone who would like to vote nay. All right. Votes are being furiously counted electronically. And let's see if we'll display our poll results. And there we go. So the vote confirms our slate of general and board members. Congratulations to Kathy, Joan, Chip, and Nicole. Welcome to our new and our continuing board members all. And now I'm just going to turn it back over to our CEO, Michael Monty, for an addition to our bylaws we need to act on.
Thanks, Bob. Over the past years, as we have grown, CHT has been able to strengthen the range of services for our residents. We now provide more on-site staffing than ever before, and we are more focused than ever before on building community within our properties wherever and whenever we can. Now, for the past several years, we have surveyed residents to find out how we are doing, and we will continue to do that in the future. This past year, the board established an advisory committee made up of residents from our rental properties in order to stay more connected on a regular basis. We want to make this advisory committee permanent. And so before you tonight is a resolution to formally amend the bylaws to include the creation of a rental resident advisory committee. We will now ask the membership to vote to approve amending the Champlain Housing Trust bylaws to add the rental resident advisory committee to the list of standing committees in Article 3, Section 7. Now I'm going to ask two members of our board who are members of this committee to assist me in passing this bylaws. Antoinette, can I get a motion to approve the amendment of the bylaws?
I move to approve the bylaws of amendments Article 3, Section 7.
Thank you, Antoinette. Rachel, can I get a second, please?
Yes, happily. I second this motion.
Thank you, Rachel. And these two board members spent, as residents, also spent an enormous amount of time really supporting this committee and making it really important for us to make it a permanent part of our bylaws. Thank you, Rachel and Antoinette. Okay, well, we will launch a poll now for everyone. That is for all of you here, residents, donors, and supporters, to please vote by clicking yes or no to approve the bylaw change, and then hit the submit button at the bottom of the poll window. And let's go ahead. Please vote. And once again, for those of you who are attending only on your phone and would like to vote yes, you may unmute yourself now and say aye. And anyone who wants to vote nay, now's your time. Please unmute yourself and say nay. Thank you. We're waiting for the results. The motion to approve was unanimous, not nearly unanimous, and thank you all for your consideration. And appreciate this new member, this new permanent committee now of CHT. Now we're going to switch gears for a minute. Now, if we were meeting in person, we would have beer and wine on our table. We'd be walking about, getting our seats. And this is the part of the meeting where you're taking your seats to sit down before dinner. So we don't have that. We hope that we do next year, but we don't have that right now. So we're going to have a little 4-minute break here. But before you go, please look in the chat and click the link to sign up for your $18 Visa gift card. Now, this is sort of in lieu of the fact that we're not buying you dinner at some fancy motel or hotel in town. And so instead, we're going to send you all gift cards. Please, if you could do that during the break or after the meeting, just be sure to sign up before 6 p.m. tomorrow. The screen will show a web address for the gift card. Sign up. You can't click the link on the slide, but you can click the link on the chat. Go to the chat and click the link if you want to do that now, or again, come back to the website tomorrow and you can do that. All right. We're going to, by the way, if you could forget all this, and if you want to, you'll get an email tomorrow or pretty soon and say, I'm going to click on that email. I'm going to get my $18 gift card. So just so you know that there will be lots of chances for you to do that. So when we return from the break, we'll have an open member forum where you could ask questions or share ideas. This is important for us. We're now opening up the chat for all participants. If you have questions that you would like us to answer during the open member forum, please write them in the chat. Make sure you send it to everyone in the chat. You could add questions now, during the break, or during the forum. So everybody take a moment to stretch, go and get your gift card, or if you want to, please go ahead and start putting things in the chat if you want to ask us any questions. And we'll take a moment. We'll come back in a few minutes and begin a process of answering as many of those questions as we can. All right, take a break. Here we go. All right, we're past almost 1 minute here, and so now's your chance. I just want to say when we get back together, we'll be answering any questions we have in the chat. If you want to now, certainly continue to put questions into the chat, but also when we get into that part of the meeting, which is coming right up, we'll be glad to answer any questions you have.
Great. Welcome back all. We will now begin the open member forum. As Michael said, for this forum, you may write your questions in the chat and we'll address them in the order in which they appear. Please make sure you're sending your chat to everyone and not as a direct message to one person so we can all see your great questions. Some of you have already started entering your questions in the chat during the break, and we'll keep taking questions during the forum. I'll read the questions from the chat to Michael, who will answer each one. Because of the number of people who are with us today, we'll do our best to get to as many questions as possible in the limited time we have. If you have specific questions, you can always email Michael, whose contact information will be shared in the chat at the end of the session. But let's get to the questions. First, this group always is so filled with gratitude, and we really appreciate your kind notes in the chat. So Michael, first official question for you. Who seeks out volunteers to be nominated for board seats? I would suggest that members be randomly selected, not appointed by existing board members, and paid a stipend for serving as a nominating committee.
So that's a good question. The board is pretty deliberative about how it thinks about its board membership. But let me say, for the residents and homeowners and renters that we have, we do send out a note, and we constantly seek out membership from our residents. And so that is usually in our newsletter, and for homeowners, a direct email as well for those folks. There is something in the bylaws which indicates the number of homeowners we have, number of renters we have, number of co-op members we have. And so this time we had only seats open for homeowners. Homeowners got a direct email asking them, and there was a list of 10, and the governance committee of the board reviewed that and talked to a handful of folks and decided to choose the folks who were elected tonight. For after that, at any given moment, if any member of the Champlain Housing Trust wants to be a board member, they should certainly reach out. We do the best we can to provide a level of diversity and inclusion, make sure that we have people from a variety of different communities, and make sure we span the various ages and interests. And so we do the best we can to sort of put people into that profile. But you could always contact other board members if you want more information about that as well.
Thank you, Michael, and thank you, Terrell, for the good question. The next question comes from Tori. I'm curious if there are plans to rehabilitate the existing properties CHT acquired years ago, particularly like South Meadow. The external product and entryways are unpleasing, amongst other items.
Okay. Well, first of all, right away, we'll go make sure somebody takes a look at South Meadow and see what you're talking about, and reach out to you and ask you so to get your personal point of view on that one. We do review all the properties in CHT's portfolio. I know that recently there were hours of meetings of folks assessing the various needs of all the properties, putting them into a 5-year plan, and attempting to provide the time frame to get all that kind of work done. So I'm not sure exactly where the South Meadow front entranceway is on a list of things that need to be done, but we'd certainly be glad to check it out. But any resident is free to send us a note and to let us know what they think needs to be done on a larger capital basis. I know we spend millions of dollars not on every not millions on every property, but $1 million across CHT's properties to improve them on a yearly basis. This past year has been a little tough sometimes with the pandemic in order to get certain kinds of workers into place to get some of this work done. So we've been a little slow and maybe a little bit behind on some of that work.
Thank you, Tori, for the question. Michael, Vanessa asks, hi, I have a question about making changes to shared equity capital improvement considerations. I believe CHT should include weatherization projects to capital improvement to incentivize these extremely important projects and as a way to further encourage folks to weatherize, which is healthier for homeowners and for the environment.
Well, it sounds like a good idea, and I hope somebody in the shared equity program is listening, and we should take it up, and we'll get in contact with you and sort of see if we can put that as a part of the formula.
Thank you, Michael. Earhart asks and states, and thank you for this, Earhart. Hi, folks. I want to channel my dear departed friend and longtime board member and Flynn Co-op resident, Richard Kemp, who passed away this fall and who is dearly missed by all of us. If Richard were here with us now, he would surely ask, when might CHT be working on the creation of a new resident-owned co-op?
It's a very good question. I feel like I'm going to stumble on this one. I would say that there has been some movement in the south end of Burlington to create more housing. There may be, I think, an opportunity to create a resident-owned co-op within that project. We'll have to see. Right now, we don't have any co-op on the drawing boards, but Earhart, thank you for channeling Richard. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Earhart and Michael. Gwen asks, are there any resident advisors from Garden Street Housing in South Burlington?
No, but we not that I know of. We haven't really picked the resident advisors just yet. But Mike, if you're interested, we'll certainly put your name in the pot. And I think we have to go back and take a look and see who is there. There may be somebody from Garden Street. I just don't know all the members at this point.
Great. And that was Gwen Donovan for staff tracking interest.
Gwen, it's always good to hear from you.
Michael, Paul asks, why isn't anyone addressing the complaints and concerns of the tenants at the Swanton School apartments?
I haven't heard any complaints about from the Swanton School apartments, so I'll follow up on that right away. Be glad to, if you can send me an email about what the issues might be, be glad to follow up.
And that's from Paul Button for people tracking questions. We have lots of questions coming in, so we're going to use the next couple of minutes to try and speed through some more.
Okay.
Christina asks, is there a process for notifying building community with neighbors when CHT adds or develops a building? I'm a CHT homeowner on Dalton Drive in the Fort, where I believe CHT is adding several units. There are a lot of chatter about Dalton Drive in the Neighborhood Association annual meeting about what is happening. Neighborhood has changed drastically over the past few years from primarily student housing. Everyone doesn't know about or understand the good work that CHT is doing yet.
I appreciate that. And, we could do better. We have initiated an e-newsletter where on a more monthly basis, we could provide you with information about what you're doing. I would hope that you'll always get information from your local zoning committee, but be glad to sort of make sure that we get something out to all the Fort residents. I hope staff are taking notes about what I'm committing to, right? We get a note out to all the Fort residents about what we're planning and what is going on right now. At this point, we have a handful of St. Mike storms, which we hope to convert. And I think that's about it right now in the Fort.
Great, thank you, Michael. And thank you, Christina. Brian, I'm going to skip over yours and come back to it. Kate asks, as someone who is experiencing housing issues, how do I speak to someone about my application and get help with immediate and/or emergency housing? My family is currently staying with family, but may be forced to stay in a hotel.
Yeah, this is really hard. I could tell you this is the most difficult probably part of the job in that we have so many people who are making applications to us and we only have so many vacancies and availability apartments. You should just make sure that you have an application in. I could tell you that sometimes it takes some time But ultimately, when you do, you'll have an opportunity to have a better rent and a more solid living situation. I can't really provide anybody with more hope than that. Get your application in, get it going, get it started. I know that we are constantly advising and talking to folks about sort of the difficulty of sort of needing apartments now and not having something right away. So I urge you to sort of hurry up and get that work going. You could certainly contact property management, and if you need some special assistance, you could ask for Mike Oler and ask him and have him a chat. He might be able to give you some additional resources.
Thank you, Michael, and I hope that helps Kate. We have 3 more questions that we're going to pose, and just a reminder for folks that if you have additional questions during this meeting or after this meeting, please feel free to email Michael or Addie or anyone on the board with those questions, and we'll be sure to get them answered. Michael, Diane asks, does CHT ever offer assistance for evaluating and reviewing a shared equity property to help with rehabilitation or improvements to plan and work towards?
Yeah, yes, I think we do. We have rehab loans, depending upon your location. If you're in Burlington, we're hoping that we might be able to take over that program. If I got the question right, we do have a rehab loan program for homeowners. You should be eligible for that. It's a great program in terms of pricing and cost. We can make some, we can give people some funds to improve their property. And so again, talk to the shared equity folks. I would start with Jacqueline Marcotte, ask her, send a note to her, and or Becca Fowler from the loan program, who would be able to line her up for a loan to fix a home.
Great, thank you.
If it's in South Burlington, then you're all set. Yeah.
So just for staff, Paul is saying that he has put a letter in the mail to you about Swantons. You should be hearing more about that.
Excellent, thank you.
So second to last question from Tammy. Are you considering an RA for Winchester Place? There are continual and ongoing issues with drug traffic, and we have asked for support and get an attitude of dismissiveness. It has improved since I frequently call the police, but continues to be an issue. She would like CHT to do more to address this issue and protect tenants.
All right, thank you very much. We'll contact you directly. We don't have a resident manager at Winchester that I'm aware of. We do have an on-site property manager there, though. Donald Williams, will talk to him about this. And I know he's gone tomorrow, but maybe on Monday, have a chat with him about it. I can tell you that right off. We've had and struggled with police services broadly in various communities in terms of response to the issues that we feel need to be responded to. When we have zero tolerance for drug dealing. We tolerate a certain level of drug use, but we know that it can be impactful, and when it is, we seek to provide for people to either stop it through counseling or resident services, or through eviction if we have to. So we don't have very much tolerance for this, and so we're sorry about this. What's hard for us during this particular pandemic. The opioid crisis is a little bit out of control for many communities. For us, we'd like to see it stopped as well. And I think the best thing to do is to have a conversation with the property manager in Winchester and see if we could solve and resolve some of these issues directly.
Thank you, Michael. And again, so much gratitude in the chat for many folks on this call. Really encourage folks to read through the chat. Michael, the last question, and I just do want to know as well, I understand that there will be an upcoming web meeting specifically on this topic that residents will be invited to participate in, but just briefly to end this forum, could you provide some more information on the efforts to increase BIPOC home ownership that CHT is engaged in?
Sure, I'll be brief. There is something up on our website. We are developing a program as well at this point. We were giving, first of all, I think we have done well overall in terms of BIPOC homeownership for a while now. In terms of our shared equity homeownership program has done well in terms of reaching out to various communities of color to ensure that they have access to that program and that form of ownership. We do have, we have been given $3 million through NEFCU to advance this particular idea. And we're just about finished with being able to sort of put out and put forward the product for folks to be able to provide them with a down payment assistance and support, specifically for BIPOC members of our community. It's not quite there yet, but it is there pretty soon. The thing that we have been doing is a lot of outreach in the community. I think there was a discussion of what we had done in Winooski. We were working with the school department and doing lots of different education and counseling in many different languages. But we are strengthening that efforts, and we'll continue to sort of move that forward. Pretty soon we'll be able to sort of announce specifically the product that we have available, but it will be equity support for people who are BIPOC who want to buy homes through the shared equity program.
Great, thank you, Michael. I do hope that staff is taking down Jane Henley and Gwen Donovan's additional questions, and we'll follow up with them tomorrow. Thank you so much all for this wonderfully engaging community forum. Addie has put Michael's contact information in the chat. At any time, if you have a question, please, again, feel free to reach out to him, any member of the board or the staff, and we will try and address your issues. At this time, I would like to turn it back to our fabulous President Bob. Thank you.
Thanks, Jesse. Thanks so much for your help with that session. And I'm going to give Michael a moment or two to catch his breath. And in the meantime, tell you that it's my pleasure to conclude the business portion of our 2022 Champlain Housing Trust Annual Meeting. And I'm going to turn it back to Michael for the second part, which is awards and recognition of some special guests with us this evening. Are you ready?
That wasn't much of a break, was it? So no. So before we move on, I want to just recognize what a great group of people you all are. We have so many residents and members and former board members and volunteers and partners and colleagues and CHT staff and bankers, lawyers, and all funders and all types here. The great thing about our community is that we are a small state, and the people who represent us are very much part of our community. The word is that if you want to talk to Bernie Sanders, you go shopping at the Hannafords on North Avenue, you'll find them there. And I think that really is what makes us rich, and I think a great community. So thank you all for being here in this. I want to just recognize a handful of folks in attendance. Are several of our elected officials and funding partners. First, Polly Major from Senator Leahy's office, where we know Senator Leahy's retiring. Senator Leahy has been a strong supporter of Burlington Community Land Trust and CHT, and certainly NABWorks as an organization. Also here is Tiffin Dean, Congressman Welch's office, and we wish Congressman good luck in his quest. And then finally, no stranger to these meetings, but into affordable housing, Harmonka from Senator Sanders' office, Senator Sanders being a founder of the Burlington Community Land Trust back in the 80s. And so thank you. This is a congressional delegation that is the envy of the country. I could tell you that right now when I travel and visit with others. It's remarkable how accessible this group of people is to us and how great they are in terms of responding to the needs of the community and the needs of affordable housing. Also here tonight is State Representative Jessica Brumstead, Maida Townsend, and Michael Yontachka, who I don't know, so sorry if I butchered your last name, Michael. But thank you also for being here as State Representative. And also here is Tim Ash, Deputy Auditor, State Auditor, who's by the way been texting me personally during this meeting to tell me what I should do or say. But Tim, thank you for being here. Thank you, representatives, for also being here as well. There's a number of funders here tonight. all of them important to us. NeighborWorks America has been a great supporter for CHT now for many years. Trisha Gooditz is here. She's our rep. She's been a big supporter for us and really helps us do the work that we do. Vermont Housing Conservation Board, Gus Seelig and Jenny Hislop are here. Great supporters. I think they sent us money this past week. Great. Thank you very VHCB for your continued support for the work that we do here in Northwest Vermont. Maura Collins is here from Vermont Housing Finance Agency, and VHFA is a very key supporter for our loan programs and tax credits and so much else. Kathy Burke is here from the Vermont State Housing Authority. And we have great relationships with all the housing authority, but the Vermont State Housing Authority has been key to us. And then David Martins is also here from the Vermont Affordable Housing Coalition. Thank you, David. Welcome to the new position. So with that, I want to just like to take a moment, if we can, to remember the loss this year of 4 great CHT leaders and friends. Their work, their legacy, their advocacy and commitment to justice will live with us always as we continue this work, their work for years to come. I'd like to take a moment of remembrance for Margaret Bozick, Don Dixon, Richard Kemp, and Ann Livingston. Great supporters for us here at CHT, great advocates, great justice warriors. If I can just have a few moments of silence, I think it'd be good to do that. Thank you. So thank you. Now is the time when we want to recognize the outstanding support and achievement of people in our community. And so welcome everyone to the annual award ceremony. We have 4 awards to present this year. The Hilton Wick Give Until It Feels Good Fundraising Award, the Carol Pack Volunteer Award, and the Brenda Torpy Founders Award for outstanding contributions to perpetual affordability. We have a special community award as well tonight. So I'm going to introduce the award presenters. And so right now presenting the Hilton Wick Fundraising Award is Joan Lennis. Joan?
Thank you, Michael. Hilton Wick was a local treasure and worked on behalf of many nonprofits, helping raise money and giving sound advice. We named this award after him because of the extraordinary fundraising he did on behalf of CHT. There's a legendary story about Hilton and fundraising solicitations that started with asking people to give until it hurts and then to keep giving until it feels good. He really lived with all the benefits of his generosity until his death in 2006. This year's Hilton Wick Give Until It Feels Good Award goes to New England Federal Credit Union for their generous, very generous $3 million commitment to CHT. It will help us address the historic inequities for Black, Indigenous, and people of color, their households, and accessing home ownership. This significant grant will help with the purchase, with the purchase of as many as 100 homes for BIPOC families. I'm pleased to recognize Pat Weaver from NEFCU and thank her, John Dwyer, Greg Hard, and the rest of the team at NEFCU for their gift. It certainly embodies Hilton's commitment to giving until it feels good. Accepting this award on behalf of New England Credit Union is Patricia Weaver, Vice President of Mortgage Lending. Pat, please unmute and say a few words, and thank you.
Thank you, Joan. Good evening, everyone. On behalf of the credit union, thank you for the Hilton Wick Fundraising Award recognition. We appreciate the longstanding relationship with CHT and the rewarding partnership surrounding the Shared Equity Program. I would be remiss if I didn't recognize a now retired longtime loan officer with our organization, who is still a member of CHT's Homeownership Committee, Jean Boucher. Jean was instrumental in educating the credit union regarding the importance of the program. She was a dedicated and vocal advocate on keeping CHT a priority in the mortgage department and encouraged her colleagues to understand how the shared equity model helps buyers purchase and stay in homes that otherwise would not qualify under other traditional loan programs. I have been privileged over the years to witness the joy buyers express after realizing their dream of owning a home and being confident in their future. When the credit union began the conversation almost a year ago about how to best give back to the housing community, CHT was an organization that topped the list. And after many meetings and discussions, and in the words of Mr. Wick, we gave until it felt good. We know how important our partnership with CHT is in serving our local communities and look forward to continuing working together to advocate, educate, and help make affordable homeownership accessible, not given equal opportunity. Thank you again for this recognition.
Thank you, Pat. Really appreciate it. And really, you just don't know how transforming this gift has been. So I want to just thank you again from us here at CHT. Now presenting the Carol Pack Volunteer Award is Rachel Phillips. Rachel.
Thanks, Michael. This year, I have the great honor of presenting the Carol Pack Volunteer Award to my fellow members of CHT's pilot program, the Renter Feedback Committee, which tonight you voted to become permanent as the Rental Resident Advisory Committee. Even before I joined the board, I heard there were plans to create a unique committee comprised of CHT renters for the sole purpose of providing feedback to help CHT create the best possible version of home for their renters. This idea truly excited me, and it spoke volumes to me about CHT. I'd never heard of any housing organization caring so much about what their renters thought that they'd create a committee and invest resources in order to hear their perspectives. From the moment I learned of this idea, I knew I wanted to participate. I became tenacious in pursuing this committee, and despite the pandemic, CHT still decided to move forward with intention to bring this idea to fruition. So in 2021, a one-year pilot program was launched. We started with a small, dedicated group of engaged CHT renters who, like myself, were passionate about giving back to their community by gathering with CHT staff members to share their thoughts and experiences. What I wasn't expecting and couldn't have foreseen was the depth and dedication that my fellow committee members were going to bring to our meetings. Alban Malanda, Antoinette Bennett-Jones, Deborah Davis, Jensing McKay Tisbert, Sabiha Moikic, and Stephen Urasitz all joined me for this inaugural trial year. Together, they brought thoughtfulness, creativity, and openness to our discussions, coming up with unique ideas and sharing meaningful feedback on a wide range of topics. They created an open and safe environment where everyone could honestly share their thoughts and experiences, all while keeping a positive perspective. Tangible changes were made in just a handful of meetings. And I'm happy to say, thanks to all of their hard work and dedication, it was a resounding success. The spirit of volunteering was at the heart of the work they did this past year, as they continued meeting after meeting to give back to their community and the thousands of other CHT renters. These individuals generously volunteered their time and truly made their community, our community, a better place to live. Helping others and serving in one's community with no payment or expectation of benefits for yourself is the core concept of volunteering. This was demonstrated so passionately by Carol Pack, who was a longtime volunteer, an active and dedicated CHT board member and co-op resident. While I didn't know Carol personally, I'm told she would be thrilled with the efforts of this extraordinary group of people. And it is therefore my honor to present the Carol Pack Volunteer Award to the pilot members of the Renter Feedback Committee. Accepting the award on behalf of the group, Stephen Urasitz. Stephen, please unmute and say a few words.
Can everybody hear me? No.
We can now, Stephen. Yes.
Oh, but not now.
But not now. One more time.
There you go.
Okay, sorry.
Yes,
Yeah.
perfect.
Well, thank you, Rachel, and hi all. I'm honored to accept this award on behalf of my fellow Renter Committee members. I'm a 20-year resident at the Bus Barns in Burlington's Old North End, and I love being a member of Champlain Housing Trust Renter Community. I was so pleased to be asked to join the first ever Renter Feedback Committee. I got to meet other renters and share my advice with CHT. It was wonderful to be able to participate with a group of other engaged community members who volunteered their time and energy. We bonded and felt like we made a real difference. We were so encouraged by the process and the progress that we all hope to continue the committee again for another year. So thank you to Albin, Antoinette, Deborah, Jensing, Habitha, and Rachel, and thank you to CHT. Peace.
Thank you, committee. Thank you, everyone. We appreciate your work. And clearly you did enough to make it sort of a permanent fixture of everything that we do. So thanks again. Thanks, Rachel. So our next award is the Brenda Torpey Founders Award. This award is our oldest award and recognizes special contributions to permanently affordable housing. It was originally named for our first director, Tim McKenzie, who suggested that we rename it for Brenda. I know that Brenda was deeply appreciative of this, but recognizing that she was not the only one of the many hardworking volunteers who birthed CHT, she requested that we make it the Brenda Torpey Founders Award. Some of you are here tonight, and as our past recipients of this award, thank you again for all you have done to advance our mission. So, presenting our award for outstanding contributions to the advancement of perpetual affordability, the Brenda Torpey Founders Award, is Brenda Torpey. Brenda.
Thanks, Mike. It's great to see everyone. And thank you for this, the biggest honor, presenting this year's award to Tony Pickett, a long-standing colleague, friend, and national leader in the cause of permanently affordable housing. Tony is the Chief Executive Officer of Grounded Solutions Network. Grounded Solutions has a membership of over 200 community land trusts and local government. Tony and I served on this board through its early formative years, and Tony was a leader amongst us, someone you can always count on to help steer a good course, and now he's steering the organization and the movement towards greater impact. Under his leadership, GSN has launched multiple successful national initiatives, and he successfully raised the funds to do so. By promoting inclusive housing policies and expanding the use of community land trusts for racial equity impact, Tony has lived his values and brings 35 years of hands-on experience to the job of advancing this vision at the national level. Tony's long been a thought leader and advocate for CLTs. He's played a critical role on a national and international scale in addressing the growing need for permanently affordable housing. He's also provided technical assistance to cities like Portland, Oregon, and Washington, D.C. to support their CLT efforts. This year, Tony spoke to Vermont's legislative leaders to promote the way the state's community land trusts are advancing BIPOC and low-income homeownership. Thanks. Tony's a founding member of the National Community Development Sector CEOs of Color Circle, and also contributes his time and expertise as a board member of Vermont Energy Investment Corp, among others. Tony told me that in all of this, his biggest thrill was when he did his first 3 community land trust homes in Atlanta. Tony, I'm glad you kept going from there. It's been fun and inspiring to work with you, And I look forward to seeing where you take GSN and the CLT movement now. You know that CHT continues our commitment to GSN and our shared vision for more equitable housing. Or as our late Richard Kemp, a beloved CHT board member, used to say, housing justice. Congrats, Tony. Now I'm honored to introduce to you Tony Pickett, and please say a few words.
Thank you all so much for this award. I'm incredibly moved and honored by your really meaningful recognition for so many reasons. Most of all, I just want to share that many Vermont CLT leaders and advocates, including all my good friends and colleagues like you, Brenda, Gus Seelig, Michael Monty, John Davis, Chris Donnelly, the list goes on. You all have always been a major part of my inspiration and motivation in doing this work over the years. Any success I've achieved is also directly attributable, at least in part, to the active encouragement and support of many CHT staff members over the years. I'd like to share one brief story just to illustrate how meaningful that has been for me. My connection to CLTs literally began in the summer of 2010. I had the opportunity to visit Burlington for the first time that summer and learn about CHT's work for the first time. I clearly recall sitting in a CHT conference room talking at length with the amazing Amy Demetrowitz, who I know is here with us tonight. Amy explained to me for the first time what a CLT was and how it functioned. Amy, you were incredibly generous in sharing your extensive knowledge and expertise with me that day, and I'm forever grateful to you, since that first brief exposure was really a pivotal moment in helping me to secure my first CLT leadership position as the founding executive director of what became the Atlanta Land Trust, which still functions today, doing great work. Finally, in addition to my very heartfelt gratitude and appreciation to all of you for this incredible award, our entire Grounded Solutions Network is grateful to CHT's efforts and outstanding work, and actually all your future contributions toward our collective effort to create 1 million new homes with lasting affordability over the next 10 years, our bold goal to advance the scale of the sector. In spite of these difficult times, I want to share with you that I still have an unshakable faith that working together, we can continue to expand the availability of permanently affordable housing and for the first time achieve real progress toward advancing racial equity and housing justice in this nation the way it's supposed to be. So I'll turn it back over to you, Michael, to move us on in the agenda. But again, my incredible thanks to you all for this award.
Thanks, Tony, very much. Well-deserved award for you. And Brenda, thank you for giving out our first Brenda Torpy Founders Award. Again, thanks. Now, I want to, it's my honor to give a special community award. This one goes to the CHT staff. I wanted to do this, and when I suggested to the board, they were enthusiastic. Now, why would they be so supportive? Well, that's easy. They know, and the greater Burlington community knows, that CHT staff have been extraordinary these past couple of years especially, and have given of themselves in remarkable ways. Now I'm going to speak to CHT staff who are here. You have done things that simply amaze the ordinary human. And you have done it mostly with good nature and with the skill which the envy of most. You are truly world champions. And so this is a special award in recognition for your work. Now we're going to ask Raj Shah to accept the award on behalf of CHT staff. And you might ask, why Raj? Who's that? That was easy too. Do you remember the word seva? Well, if you remember its meaning, selfless service. Well, Raj embodies that for all of us. When we first purchased the Econo Lodge years ago and created Harbor Place, Raj worked there. and lived with his family above the office. He stayed, supported our work to create Harbor Place, and has been there every day since we first opened. Raj has served, performed Seva at Harbor Place for nearly 8 years, and has done so with grace, good humor, and humility. We think he's a good representative for all of CHT staff. And so I want to introduce now Raj Shah. Thank you.
Hello.
Hi, Raj.
Hi, Michael, CHT board member and CHT staff. I am so honored and grateful that Michael has asked me to accept the award on all CHT staff behalf. Thank you, Michael, also for your very kind words about me. CHT has been the best company to work with for all of work it does for the greater Burlington community and the wonderful and friendly staff. CHT has changed my life with a great opportunity for a better life, and my goal with the CHT is always to do my best work. It's been 8 years for me. CHT did not just provide me with a job, but it also gave me a family of all of you very nice and supportive people. I am very proud to be part of this company, and it would be my pleasure and honor to accept this special award recognizing everyone amazing work. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Raj.
Thank you, sir.
Raj, are you at work?
Yes.
That's great. Thank you, Raj, for that. Now we are all muted, but we would like to take a couple of screenshots. And so we're gonna basically have everyone do first a solid round of applause for all of this year's awardees. So please keep or turn your camera on now and join me putting our hands together for everyone while we take a couple of screenshots of everyone so that we could memorialize sort of this work and this event. Thank you everyone for being here. Now I'd like to leave you with one more thought as we the days are getting warmer. And they're also getting longer. And I believe we will soon be on the other side of this mountain we have climbed together. Stay safe. Thanks for being with us tonight. Make sure you practice a little safer every day. And before you leave the meeting, feel free to unmute, give a wave, do a shout out, and say goodbye. Thank you, everybody. Hope to see you all in person next year. Unmute yourself, say hi.
Thank you, Michael.
Thank you all.
Thank you, everyone.
Community of
Everybody.
Bye.
Kenzie, I saw you there.
Thanks, everybody.
You guys are awesome. Hey, Sylvie.
As that Barb.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
Hi. Good screenshot.
The last question. Who can we talk to about
Lay down.
building improvement?
Lay down right here.
Well, hot and heavy pumpkin pie, chocolate candy, Jesus Christ, ain't nothing please me more than you. Oh, let me go home. Home is wherever I'm with you. Oh, let me go home. Home is wherever I'm with you.
Thank you, CHT. Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Bye-bye.
Bye, folks. Have a great
Good
evening.
to see you.
Well,
Oh, who's talking? But good to see you. Or maybe you do know who's talking.
Thanks, Paul.
Ellen.
Thank you.
Earhart. Thanks, everyone. John.
I don't want to go. I don't want to say goodbye.
It's tough. Great meeting, folks. Bye.
Well done.
Thanks for the invite.
Thank you. Glad you could join us.
I'm in the Mansfield. Amy.
Hey.
Oh, Linda, hi.
Thanks, everybody.
Hi, Mike.
Thank you, Michael.
Hi, Michael.
Thanks,
Thanks,
Mike.
Addie. Thank you, Michael. Thank you, Addie.
Thank you,
Hey,
guys.
Helen.
A great night, even if we're not all together in person. A wonderful night.
Wonderful night.
Thanks.
Thanks, John.
Thanks, Joe. Great job behind the scenes, folks. Thank you.
Hey, Eddie. Go
Addie, Jack.
Bob
Ellen.
will miss you.
Ellen,
Come
Jack.
show up once in a while.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Oh,
Addie.
Bye-bye.
Oh, Addie.
We're gonna count down 5, 4, 3,
Great.
Thank you.
2, 1. Goodbye, everybody.
Uh-oh.
Bye.
Bye.
Peace, peace, peace. Night.